Hey there, it is Wednesday, March 30th, 2016. Wednesday, of course, means comic book day, small pull this week. Let us jump right into the Omega Men, issue number 10. And this is a great issue, another great issue of Omega Men that deals with things that comic books don't usually deal with, I find. We begin this issue jumping in with Kyle Rayner as he begins his 22nd straight day of war with the Omega Men against the Citadel. The Omega Men is trying to unite the races and inhabitants of the Vega system in order to fight the Citadel, and it is basically all-out war as the Vega system tries to defend itself against the technologically and numerically superior army of the Citadel. And through this comic, as we jump, every panel is basically another day in this war. Eventually it goes on for over 40 days. We see Kyle Rayner and the rest of the Omega Men, but Kyle especially pushed to his emotional and physical limits. Every panel, after every battle, even though they keep on winning, Kyle seems to get a little deader inside, a little worse for wear. So to speak, until, and so here's after a battle, after a successful victory, we have Kyle talking to, I forget this guy's name, but he's talking about how he used to be a pacifist, non-violent, a non-violent resistor, and now he's stuck in the middle of a war, shooting and killing people and soldiers. So it's killing him inside almost as much as it is Kyle here. And we see Kyle just become more and more emotionless as he fights this seemingly never-ending battle to defend his people, or to defend the Vega system, rather. Meanwhile, we also get some narration from the Viceroy of the Citadel, the Viceroy of the Vega system, who is also under lots of pressure to quell the rebellion, lest, or else he's basically dead. So yeah, a comic that really approaches the whole war is hell angle, but from the perspective of the winners. That, even if you win, even if you get what you're fighting for, the war still takes a toll on you. And as Kyle is still kind of confused as to what he exactly is fighting for, it really shows, and it's just a really kind of emotional journey that we take with that character. So really well done. Really enjoyed this book. Next up, we have Batman and Robin Eternal, number 26, the final issue of this macro story, this macro series, whatever we're calling it. It's a pretty good finale, got everything you expect, pretty much. We start with a flashback back to a younger Harper Row who's talking with her mother, her actual mother, her birth mother, and gets a lecture about what a mother sacrifices in order for her children and what she expects from Harper and Cullen, which is to be the best person that they can be, no matter who that person turns out. And then we flash forward to the climax of our story with Grayson, Harper, and Mother all in Mother's base in the Arctic, about as Harper decides whether or not to spare or to kill Cass. She, of course, does not kill Cass because she has no reason to. She instead fucks up Mother's plans, gives Mother a bit of a beating, and then kind of tells Mother what actual mothers do and how actual mothers love their children and not raise them to be weapons. And then from then on, basically we just get the all-out action finale with the Bat family versus Mother's remaining children, who happen to be kind of these, the orphans, pretty much. So we get Cass, Harper, and Spoiler as a kind of terrific trio here. Meanwhile, all the Robins go up against Mother. So we have the Mother versus the Robins fight. And then, it's a comic book. good guys win. And we have a short epilogue with Batman back, with Bruce Wayne Batman back. That's kind of epiloguing the thing. We find out what Harper decides to do after this whole thing is over. Does she decide to become part of the Bat family? We see what Cass will be up to by the end of this. What's Cass moving on to? Is she joining the Bat family or not? And then just a whole bunch of other stuff. Overall, a pretty satisfying conclusion. Nothing spectacular. We get kind of all the necessary stuff that you'd expect. We get Harper explaining why Mother is a terrible mother. We get the Robins explaining how the Robin internship program or whatever is different from Mother's thing, and so we get the Robins and the whole sidekick sort of thing validated, answering kind of that thematic question that the story posed. Yeah, not extraordinary, and not an extraordinary story overall. There were some good moments, but I mean, it's pretty skippable, I guess, overall. Again, not a terrible story, but something that didn't have to be told over 26 issues, something I didn't have to spend like $100 on, all in all. Probably, I mean, if you want to, probably worth picking up in trade. I think it's going to be like 1 or 4 trade, probably 4 trades or however much they'll find to get out of you. But, yeah, overall, okay story. Pretty good Robin story, just did not have to be this long. Moving on to Marvel Books and to Daredevil issue number 5. Pretty straightforward issue, but that does not mean bad. We have Ten Fingers Church, or Ten Fingers Temple, being attacked by the Fist, which is a magical beast made by the hand, and the whole rest of the issue is basically this fight. We first get a bit of Ten Fingers himself trying to defeat this creature to no effect. So of course Daredevil has to jump in and fight the Fist itself. I don't want to say fight the Beast, because the Beast is another character in the Hand mythos. So we have Daredevil versus the Fist. Meanwhile, as Daredevil's doing this, we have Blind Spot fight his mother and the 8 Fingers of Ten Fingers followers. So we have kind of parallel fights going on there, and that's basically the issue. We have Daredevil fighting the Fist and Blind Spot fighting his mom, essentially. And it's the end of the arc, so not going to spoil everything that happens, but it gets pretty gruesome. The ending gets really dark. I mean, nothing too graphic because of the art style, but yeah, there's some pretty gross stuff that happens by the end of this book. Nothing really status quo changing. Still don't get the answer to the mystery of what Daredevil did to make everybody forget who he is. But yeah, straightforward but well done. Can't complain about Daredevil. And I mean, this is still the introductory arc for this whole series. So, leaving a lot of interesting places to go from there. What happens next? Next up, change of tone, big change of tone, actually, continuing with Marvel, and going on to Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur, which continues to be one of the just most fun, lighthearted books in Marvel's roster, and one I am really enjoying. In this issue, let's see, how do I put it in a good way? Well, we begin with just, again, this book is great with the whole relatability and pathos thing. We begin with Lunella deciding whether or not she wants to be normal. Over the past few issues, her whole kind of motivation for doing everything and trying to get the Omni Stone or Omni Projector or whatever is because she doesn't want to be inhuman. She wants it to fix her genome so she can be a normal girl. And we begin this issue with her, being punished by her parents and everything, so she has the chance to finally behave normally. And she wonders whether that's what she really wants, or whether she wants to do something more. And so she decides, after dark, to to go out to rescue Devil Dinosaur from his imprisonment by the New York Museum of Natural History and the Bronx Zoo, teaming up to keep a dinosaur captive, which I kind of like. I wish that were the case. It'd be cool, I guess. I mean, not the whole forced captivity thing of a dinosaur, but just that the Bronx Zoo and the Natural History Museum would team up to have a real-life dinosaur exhibit. But yeah, Lunella decides that she doesn't want to be normal, and she owes it to Devil Dinosaur to rescue him, so she finally suits up and becomes Moon Girl. It's taken, 5 issues? But we finally get it. We finally get Lunella in a superhero costume as Moon Girl, declaring that old nickname that she doesn't so much like when her classmates call her that, and deciding this is who I am. And she goes out to rescue Devil Dinosaur, and it's some lighthearted, wacky hijinks, all in all. And it's pretty cool, and it's great to see just I love this partnership that we have between the world's smartest 8-year-old, or 10-year-old, however old she is, the world's smartest girl, and Devil Dinosaur, who's just a big, angry dinosaur who acts like a dog around Lunella. So just great chemistry there, 5 issues in. Still not really evolving that relationship, but it doesn't have to evolve. It's simple, and it works, and it's great, and it's cute, and it's fun. And we get some just great moments, like Lunella on springy shoes right next to Devil Dinosaur there as they rampage through the Museum of Natural History. Yeah, it's a fun book that doesn't forget how emotions work, and it's not just like fun for the sake of fun. There is real pathos with Lunella and with her struggle to be normal, but also to be the best she can be and to do everything she can do with her intelligence. So, yeah, no, it's just such a fun, great book. Really, anyone of all ages. That means younger children, but also people in their 20s, I guess, 30s even, can probably find something to enjoy in this book as long as they're not totally dead inside. So, yeah, Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur, still just really, really one of the most fun books coming out right now. Moving on to possibly a more fun book than Devil Dinosaur and Moon Girl, The Unbeatable Squirrel Girl, which this week and then in the next Howard the Duck issue has a crossover with Howard the Duck. So double the fun, basically. And we're getting, I mean, it's a pretty standard issue of Squirrel Girl. Same humor you have come to expect from this series. But now we get some Howard the Duck. Did I say Donald the Duck once? I think I might have said Donald the Duck. Some Howard the Duck action. This issue begins with Howard stealing Nancy's cat, because he can't tell any cats apart, and he's just basically been hired to rescue a kidnapped cat. Kidnaps the wrong one, gets him into Squirrel Girl. So we get that initial kind of hero fight. Still a better reason for these two people to fight than we got in Batman v Superman, which is terrible and probably shouldn't watch it. Read Squirrel Girl and Howard the Duck instead of watching Batman v Superman. But anyway, short little fight scene here. Howard the Duck just ends up throwing trash at Squirrel Girl because he's pretty ineffectual overall. But then they resolve the issue. They talk it out. They discover that Howard kidnapped the wrong cat because he actually can't tell cats apart. And then they go off to try and find the right cat. Unfortunately, things... I have to show this whole page. Unfortunately, it's not that easy because Howard ends up getting kidnapped by Kraven the Hunter. And the way that this book plays with Kraven the Hunter, considering Squirrel Girl and Kraven already kind of know each other, is actually really great. That we gotta keep, or even kind of build the relationship between Squirrel Girl and Kraven. That there ends up being a respect between the two characters, even though Kraven is still kind of a villain, or at least doing villain things. But the best part of this book, besides the Kraven, is probably the alt text, or, I mean, it's not quite alt text, but, you know, the text, the little jokes that Ryan North usually writes on the bottom of the pages in Squirrel Girl, they're accompanied by jokes from Chip Zdarsky. So we get double the alt text humor, and they have conversations with each other in there or down there. And it's just really fun. just extra jokes, you know. And there's just good parts of this book I don't want to spoil. Howard the Duck gets a Deadpool villain card, which is probably the best villain card yet. Chip Zdarsky does the art for it, and it's one of the best jokes in Squirrel Girl so far. And also we find out who hired Craven to kidnap Howard the Duck, and it ends up being a supervillain cosplayer named Shannon Sugarbaker, who likes hunting anthropomorphic animals, because it's like hunting people, but legal gray area. And so the villain of this little crossover seems to be this cosplayer who just is also a weird hunter person. And it really goes, like, this whole book is, I don't want to spoil everything, but there end up being cosplaying Doombots and a Wolverine squirrel. So if you're interested in any of that, and by Wolverine I mean the hero Wolverine with the metal claws, that but a squirrel. So if you're interested in something that sounds that awesome, pick up Squirrel Girl. Tons of fun, lots of laughs, still one of the best books that Marvel is putting out. And the last book this week is Saga, issue number 35? Yes, issue number 35, about reaching the end of this arc of Saga. We begin with the Will using the kidnapped reporters, especially Doth, to find out the location of Prince Robot, so that the Will can exact revenge on Prince Robot for killing what's her face? I forget her name. The spidery assassin person. Because Will got fat and crazy and wants to kill Prince Robot now. Unfortunately, Prince Robot isn't where he's supposed to be, because he's helping Marco and Alana do a heist/rescue of Hazel from the landfall prison that she's being held in. So we get a lot of cool banter here, and what's great is that we're seeing Marco and Alana together, like not for the first time this arc, but for the first time in a while, and we're seeing just again how much these two love each other. That even though they're wanted criminals and they're in a whole bunch of danger, just talking about planning this heist to get their daughter back puts kind of a smile on their faces. That these are two people that love each other, that work well together, that are effective together, and just they're happy. Like these are two people who deserve each other in a way. And even if Prince Robot is being kind of a sourpuss, he's the sarcastic third of this kind of comedy triangle, I guess. He's the sensible one, kind of straight man character, as these two are having fun planning this rescue heist. And meanwhile, Hazel gets help from her teacher, Noreen, and because Noreen wants to help Hazel also escape the prison, but Noreen first talks to Hazel's grandma, and we get a little conversation there about whether it's safer in the prison or if it's safer for Noreen to help Hazel escape the prison. And that's pretty much the end of the book. That's all the setup. Again, don't want to spoil anything because you really should be reading Saga. It's a good book. It's been one of the best comic books consistently for 35 issues, which is about 3 years now. So most of it's in trade. It's okay to be late because it's still good. Being late doesn't make books not good anymore. If it did, high schoolers would have nothing to read. Anyway, yes, overall, pretty good week in comics. I think I liked all of them. Pretty much liked every book I picked up this week. So hopefully next week will be the same thing. But before we get to next Wednesday, I want to thank you for watching this Wednesday's reviews. Again, like, comment, subscribe, the usual. I'm sure this is not your first time on YouTube, but with the comments, again, feel free to do anything. If you like the books, if you don't like the books, if there are books you don't like that I'm not reading that you want me to check out. I mean, I have a pretty big backlog of books that I want to catch up on, but yeah, I mean, I can add it to the pile maybe. So, yes, again, thank you for watching, and I hope that you will subscribe and join me next week for some more comic book reviews.